right, welcome everybody. We are here with Wispsi, my man from overseas. We'll get into where he's from shortly, but thanks guys for jumping into, this is our first podcast, our first official podcast, and I thought what better way to start it than bring in someone like Wispsi, my dude. Like we were, I was blessed enough to work with him over about a 3-month period actually, and this is the first time that we've kind of caught up since. So hey bro, how are you?
Yo, yeah, well, thanks a lot for thinking of me first, real honor. Happy to be here. We had fun, but, slightly different schedules, right? And I'm glad for the opportunity to catch up.
Yeah, awesome, man.
And now live.
Yeah, exactly. We're just, this is all a bit new. But how have you been, man? Well, actually, before we get into that, let's, would you mind, I don't know, for people out there that maybe haven't met you before, maybe you could say a bit about yourself, Like, we both met playing Godsunchained, and we're both Godsunchained streamers, but, yeah, maybe you could open with that, bro.
Yeah, well, you're right. I am a Godsunchained streamer. Been streaming, quite a lot for the past 7 months now, actually. Been going quite a while, and loving it. I've also been getting involved in Godsunchained tournaments, things like that. I've had some okay placements. Doing all right. I think I've only won one of them, which was a smaller one, but we did get one win in there. And I've been getting into the commentating, casting of tournaments lately, and that's been a lot of fun for me. A little bit with James, a little bit on the play to earn things, Year of the Gods as well. We did one or a couple.
Yeah, that's huge.
So yeah, that's kind of me. I'm living in Vietnam right now, and yeah.
Yeah, awesome.
Playing games.
So, if you don't mind me asking, bro, like, how long have you been in Vietnam for?
It's coming up. It's 2.5 to 3 years now, so quite a while.
That's huge. And you're from the UK originally, hey?
That's right. I'm from the UK, and then like 8 years ago, I met my fiance online whilst we were playing a game, and we talked online for a long time. Went over to Poland to see her for 3 weeks after a while, and then moved there for the next 5 years.
Yeah. How was Poland,
and
man?
then after that, Poland was great. I am not very good with languages, but thankfully she really is. So I was allowed to be lazy. But yeah, no, things were a lot cheaper there, and stuff like social services in Poland were just so much better than in England. It was crazy.
Yeah, certain places in Europe they seem to.
But
just
yeah, so I liked it there, but eventually.
Sorry, I just jumped in there.
Yeah, but we were earning okay money, but it wasn't great money. Sorry.
It's all good.
And so we're like, well, we don't necessarily want to stay in Poland forever anyway. Why not go somewhere else? We've been to Japan and Asia, but I hadn't been that many other places in Asia because it's really far away. It takes ages to get there, a lot of money. So we're like, all right, let's go move somewhere in Asia then. And Vietnam was the easiest place to get the cat in.
So wait, you actually brought the cat? Oh, like you brought the cat over to Vietnam?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's huge.
Yeah. I mean, she was a rescue cat, and she's really become like part of the family. So we couldn't just leave her and go off lives without her.
Dude, I'm just gonna say it.
We brought her along.
I'm just gonna say it. Like, I meet people all the time. Well, not all the time, but I've met a few people over the years that go, "Hey, we're having trouble moving," and this place doesn't allow a cat, so we're just going to give the cat away. And I've always thought to myself, well, that's lame. You know what I mean? Like, you've invited this being into your family, and then you just, at the first inconvenience, decide to get rid of it. And you decided to actually go to the... I think that says a lot about you, bro. You know, actually, you know, going to take the cat to a different country. That's huge, man.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I don't, you know, there are definitely animals that are better people than people. So, you know, like most people, and I don't know. I don't really view them that differently. It's, you know, I guess kind of why I'm vegan, right?
Mm-hmm. I didn't actually know you were a vegan, man. How long have you... well, and again, Wispsi, I haven't got the best memory, so everyone keep in mind that we do know each other rather well. But I for the interest of what we're doing here, it's really good to cover these things. So, how long have you been a vegan for, man? And what's kind of been your journey through that? Like, surely it wouldn't have been easy to do that.
Oh, I've been vegan, I guess, now for like 8 years or something.
Wow.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting story, I guess. I was actually vegetarian till I was 16, because I didn't like eating meat. I didn't like it. And then, you know how it is. You've got TV pressure, school pressure. Like, the school literally didn't do vegetarian meals. And I don't know, my school wasn't the most welcoming environment anywhere. So when I was around 16, I ended up eating meat again. And I kind of went completely on the other side. And every single day, you know, there would be meat in my meal for sure. You know, it'd be just a big part of it. And that went all the way through uni, of course. You know, uni we live sometimes very decadent lifestyles. And yeah, it wasn't until years after I was with a friend of mine, and we'd used to, you know, just hang out and you know, chill out and watch documentaries. And one day he comes to me and says, "Mate, we got to go vegetarian." I'm like, whoa, what? I mean, I've been vegetarian, all right. I know the argument that, you know, it's bad, but everyone does it. I can't change it. Why bother? Why bother? And then so we watched these documentaries he had lined up. I'm like, he might be right. All right. And so, you know, he went. We're going to see him tomorrow. That whole night I spent, you know, watching, you know, trying to find more and more reasons that being vegetarian is actually okay. That it's fine, that it's not an issue. And at the end of it, he arrived the next day, and I said, "Mate, we got to go vegan. Vegetarian is not enough." So my plan kind of backfired there. And a large part of it is just the ethical reasons. I'm not against eating an animal as such. You know, if I'm hungry, if there's, you know, but the lifestyle we put them through, that's what I'm not okay with, you know.
So even as a vegetarian, that's not enough a lot of the time. Like, and I'm pretty ignorant to it. Like, I was a vegetarian for a couple of years. Like, what's the main differences? Like, you know, obviously it's no animal products at all.
I mean,
but yeah.
Yeah, so for me, I guess the big reason, I mean, obviously you have environmental reasons and health reasons and all kind of other reasons to go vegan, but the big one for me was just how the animals are treated, like the life that they live. If I was in anywhere close to that kind of life, I mean, I'd be finding the quickest way to kill myself. There's no way I'm living it.
Yeah, well.
And I don't think any living being that's proven, you know, shown to have feelings, should have to go through that. Right, so the dairy industry is the worst, because they're not just, you know, left, right? Like, they're used every day.
Well, that's how it works, isn't it? With dairy, isn't it? Like when they're when they're, I mean, I haven't drunk milk in a long ass time. Like the whole, I've been off lactose for a long time. But if I'm being honest, that's more of a health thing than a animal rights thing. So, but I did see that it's pretty horrific for cows. Aren't they basically permanently in a state of, like, their body thinks they're pregnant the whole time? Is that, oh, their body thinks they just had a calf? Is that how that works?
I mean, that's because they are, right? They inseminate them once a year.
Okay.
Have the calf and then take it away when it's born.
I see. Yeah, that's pretty horrific, bro.
I mean, if you've ever heard them screaming, they know it's being taken, and they're not okay with it. So yeah, heavy topic to start. Sorry, you just jumped in there, but
no, it is what it is, and that's what I wanted to be,
yes.
like, real. And which mother in any species would be okay with their babies being taken away? You know what I'm saying? I dig that, bro, and I commend you on sticking to that. Like, I think that's really cool. I think that everyone could take something from that, man. Like, I'm not. Yeah, I think that's really rad. Yeah, cool. Maybe that's something that you and I could talk about, off recording a bit, and you could maybe give me some pointers, because I'm not for animal cruelty at all. It's just that we're not told it. You know what I mean? Like, you go to the shop and you buy a bottle of milk, it doesn't say all this stuff on the label. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm interested to learn more about that in the future, bro, for sure.
Yeah, it's really heavily, kind of hidden and pushed, like that it's all good. But I try not to push it on people, like, anyway, because, like, a lot of people need to come to these things in their own time. But, if asked, I will answer.
Yeah, absolutely. And, yeah.
Because, as you said, right, like, it's not about the being vegan, it's just about, the mentality towards other living things. And, I feel that is a big part of who you are.
Yeah, no, I dig that, man. I commend you on it. So, so you and I, we met, and then we started hosting tournaments together. For everyone that doesn't know, as I said before, Wispsi and I, we both stream. We're both avid players of Godsunchained. And before I get into our co-hosting and all that other cool stuff, like, just quickly, Wispsi, like, I did notice for a bit, because when I first started streaming, you were on all the time, and I have noticed a lot of streamers, but I have noticed a bit of a dip in how often you've been streaming. Like, am I right in that? Like, is there a reason behind that, or am I wrong in that? Like, and if so, what's the reason that you've kind of played less?
Yeah, so I guess there was a time before the Mortal Judgment came out, right, where I streamed a little bit less because it was all light all the time, and I didn't enjoy that meta very much. Since Mortal Judgment's come out, I've been enjoying it a lot more, playing a lot more, but a couple of weeks ago I really hurt my back doing something stupid, and so I literally was just like lying down on the floor for 2 days, hoping that it's going to get better, right?
Well,
and then I don't need to see nothing about it, and it'll just get better. But yeah, so I laid down like on the floor for 2 days, and it did start getting better, but it hurt for quite a while afterwards if I would like do too much. And so I started working again, but I don't really have a chair as such that I'm sitting on.
What are you sitting on?
It's more like a bench.
Okay.
Well, it's kind of a sofa, but where the laptop is means that you don't really have much in the way of a back for it. And as far as cushioning goes, sometimes I feel wood might be a bit softer.
Oh, so we're lacking support, bro.
I don't know. Where the computer is, it.
Yeah, well,
yeah. So sitting there hurt my back quite after a while, and I didn't want to push it any more than it was. So I did stop really streaming for 2 weeks. But this past week I've been on a lot more, and I'm looking forward to it. I'm back in tournaments now too.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. It's good to have you back in the community, bro. It's nice cruising through the the GU, Twitch and seeing who's live and seeing you back on there again, because yeah, I didn't see you for a bit, and I'm super stoked to have you back, because you're someone, like I told you when we first started working together in our tournaments, like, I looked up to you, and I still do, but, I really looked up to you when I first started streaming, and like I told you, I was researching different streamers that I wanted to kind of, I guess be like, and I guess do content like, and I thought that you had these nice chill vibes that I kind of, wanted to aspire to, and it's good to have you back in it, brother.
Well, yeah. Well, look, you made it all the way. Now, one of the biggest streamers. Most of the times I look. So yeah, and well deserved. Like you've been doing great, right? Like, and I love to see just how open and welcoming your community and stream can be.
Yeah, thanks, Wispsi. You've been working hard on it, man. Like, and it's hard to keep that level of consistency up, because I don't know how you feel about it, but it's like when you first start streaming, there's like a honeymoon period where it's super exciting and everything's happening and every follower's like a lightning strike to your brain. You're like, oh my God, and all this stuff's happening. And then after a couple of months, you're like, it fits into a bit of a routine. Do you know what I mean? And routines historically throughout my life have been more often than not kind of negative. It's kind of been stuff that I have to do. And it's like finding, you got to keep having the joy and the passion. You know what I mean, bro? Like, have you kind of been through that as well?
Yeah, for sure. But honestly, sometimes I'll just, I'll feel like playing something else, and if I'm on the computer, I'm happy to just jump on and stream that instead. Like, I played a bit of on Epic Games, I got Total War Warhammer free.
Oh, nice.
And so I played a bit of that, So a couple of days we just had I played that all night. And I rechecked out the Storybook Brawl one time, just little things like that. Right, because for me, the streaming is mostly for fun, right? And so like if I'm not having fun, like doing what I'm doing, I might as well do something I am having fun, even if it means getting less viewers.
Absolutely.
Because obviously, Godsunchained is what most people want to see when they're watching, because that's what I mostly play and that's what they play. But sometimes I'll just jump on something else, and if it's only 5 viewers, that's cool, because we're still having fun, just chilling with that.
I love that, man. Like, I was doing I took a bit of a break for a couple of days, maybe I think a week ago, and I was just playing some Age of Empires 2, bro, and it was awesome. I was playing with a couple of the boys from the chat. I love Age of Empires, man. But
yeah, a long time since I played that.
Oh, it's great. But Warhammer Total War, like, I don't think I've played that before, and through our chats, you probably remember that I used to play a lot of Warhammer, like the actual tabletop game. Like, how was Total War? Like, would you recommend it? Is it worth getting into? Because I'm into Epic Games too. I used to play a lot of Dauntless, like that Monster Hunter game. So maybe it's something I could check out,
Yeah, I mean, it was all right. I like the Total War games a lot. And this one, like Shogun, is kind of my favorite style. This one's a little bit different because you have the lords, these heroes, and they are so much stronger. So the battle really focuses around them a lot, and giving them like range support. But it was a big world, like a big map. You've got this invasion that starts happening partway through as well. It really goes for it, and yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah,
it's
awesome.
not my favorite Total War game, but definitely was enjoyable.
Yeah, nice. Well, I think part of the reason,
and even more so if you're really into the lore, I imagine.
Oh yeah, the lore's great, dude. Like, I don't know, I really liked I really liked the Bretonian lore. I really got into the books, man. Like, I I think there was 3 books about Bretonians, like proper novels, and I was right into it, and that kind of led into the Wood Elves, and it kind of led into all these other races, and I also like the lore behind the demons. Like, I think Nurgle's a bit of a badass. Obviously, Khorne is a absolute pimp. So yeah, I'm way into, and also the vampire counts, man. I mean, I wish they'd bring out I mean, there's a couple of novels on that, but you know, if that was a game, I mean, maybe it is a game and I just haven't discovered it. I don't know. Like, yeah. Is it more 40k or is it fantasy?
In Total War, you can play as the vampire counts.
Really? Huh. Well,
Yeah.
I'm down for some of that.
They're one of the race options.
Yeah, that's
right?
huge. That's huge.
You got dwarves, you got wood elves, you've got the counts, you've got orcs, you've got humans.
Yes.
And they've got like mages and heroes and stuff as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just one of the free games. I try and pick up the free games because, you know, it's free games. You never know when you're going to want to play them, right?
Oh, exactly. And that's what that whole.
I think, is it BioShock they've got on there now?
Yeah, I saw that on there. They brought that out for free a few days ago, or maybe it's almost up now. I'm not sure. I don't know much about BioShock. Is that the underwater game?
I think so. I never played it. My other half did though, and she said it was great. So I might be playing it at some point in the near future.
Yeah, nice. Well, I was into the whole fantasy thing, and that's part of what got me into Godsunchained, man, because I was kind of starting into the world of kind of wanting to, like, I got into crypto, which led me to NFTs, and then when I started seeing that there was a trading card game that had that whole fantasy thing, that's what got me into GU. And I think part of the reason I felt like I'm not at this stage anymore, but I felt a little burnt out at a point after streaming every day, because honestly I wasn't playing as well as I did when I first started, because the metas just change, you know, much like you said before with Light. Like even right now, the magic meta is insane. I mean, it's not as overpowered as the Nubians and stuff were, but you know, these metas, they can mess with your head, dude, because it's literally, if you can't beat them, join them kind of mentality, you know what I mean? And you don't always want to do that.
I keep running into magic counters. I barely saw any magic at all at my weekend ranked, just magic counters.
Really?
Yeah, it was funny.
Yeah, wow. Well, I mean, nature's obviously still pretty big. I mean, nature's always been pretty big, but yeah, that's the thing. Like, these metas, they're going to change over time. Like, what kind of got me excited about the game again was playing Relic War. That was really exciting. You know, being able to hit someone for 40 plus damage is, that's a good time.
I've not actually had the chance to play that. I don't have all the cards, but it does look like a lot of fun. Just
yeah. Oh, it's relentless, you know. It's a completely different style of play, and that's what I kind of dig about it, because you're not having to you don't care about the board, you know. As long as they don't have a front line down, you don't care. If there's a front line, there's a problem.
This is what I liked about Stormfield Magic, right? Like, you don't actually care about what they're doing at all. Your plan is to just ignore them and draw your combo and set it all up and put all the pieces in place, and then, you know, do a little bit of math at the end, and math can be a powerful thing.
Yeah, they absolutely cared. So we were talking about your, like, hosting earlier, and obviously we had a great history with it. You hosted, I think, 12 tournaments or something like that, something insane with me, and that was really, really cool. And you know, I saw that we were chatting the other day, and I saw that you were, you know, potentially getting into hosting this new Play to Earn tournament, which is a massive tournament, by the way. I think it's actually, you know, one of the biggest I've seen. Like, how did you kind of get into that, and what does it look like? And has that started yet? Have you started with that yet, or is that coming, or what?
So the Play to Earn tournament is it's a series of tournaments, and we just did, I think it was number 5 this last weekend. And each one is $1,000, and depending on your placements, if you get high enough, the top 16 over the whole series will go into a big tournament at the end for a $4,000 prize pool.
Wow.
And I I'm not like always hosting it. Suli and Espada have been asked by Play to Earn to run the tournament itself, and this was the second time that I've actually come in to cast the games and commentate on them and yeah, co-host. So
That's awesome. Espada,
I
when I first started streaming, he was in my streams all the time. I haven't spoken to him in a while. I didn't know he did that type of thing at all.
Yeah, I think he's been pretty busy lately, doing a lot of different organizing for things. Because yeah, I got the cat. Cat's here. Have fun. Sorry.
He's got the cat. Yeah, I didn't even know he was doing that stuff. That's cool. Yeah, awesome.
Yeah, and behind the scenes, he's been helping it run really smoothly. Because Play to Earn, it's a lot of people, right? Because it's free to enter and it's a big prize pool. It's best of ones as well, so you can kind of get a little bit lucky. You get lucky for a couple of games in a row, and all of a sudden you're in those top positions. And yeah, because it's not best of three until later on. So yeah, there's a lot of people to deal with, but he's been helping keep it, run really smoothly, getting the videos sent in as well. So yeah, I got to give a shout out to the guy.
Yeah, wow.
Probably not getting that much attention because he's not on the screen. But really working hard.
Yeah, wow. I'm going to have to send him a message saying, well done. I didn't even know that. Yeah, awesome. So that's on community gaming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah, it is.
I only just got my community gaming account.
It's something to have, right? Because there's a number of these tournaments that they're free to enter, and you never know, right? Like, you never know. It's a card game, so you can be the best player in the world. You can really, make the best plays every single game. But unless your deck is completely broken and you're not playing against it, you're not going to win all the games, right? Like, luck is required, and a little bit more luck one time can compensate for, the odd mistake here or there. Then,
That's
it's worth
huge.
a shot, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Who doesn't love money for playing games?
Oh, that's the dream, man. That's the dream. But I just set up the
And the thing I always say is it doesn't, what's the worst that can happen? You lose. Oh no, I mean, and what? You were instead gonna play a game on ladder that you lose instead? And it's the same, just less opportunities.
Yeah, that's it. It's always win or lose, regardless. It depends on what the stakes are and how many people are watching, I guess. But I set up the GG team in community gaming, I think, a couple of days ago, and I'm really excited to kind of be a part of more stuff. Like, I was chatting, I think about 3 weeks ago, to a guy called Chuck Yu. And he's the guy that was making the starter deck tournaments. Have you heard much about
that
them?
one time, yeah.
How was it?
During that tournament, I had some pretty annoying internet issues as well that ended up turning a one game into a lost game, as I disconnected. But it was, I don't know. The starter decks I find sometimes frustrating, and I think it's great that it puts everybody on even footing, right? There is literally no variation in your decks. Everyone's got the same decks and they're all bad, so it can be kind of fun. But because the decks are so bad, like, you need to draw well, like, every turn, or you're just sat there like, well, I have 3 8 costs in my hand. And they have a board full of stuff.
And that's it. Yeah, nothing you can do.
It's just over, and that can happen. That can obviously happen almost, any in any deck that you play. But these, it's a lot more likely that consistency is not there. You can't build it for consistency. You can't queue in with like a counter to what you think they're going to play to boost your chances. it's all on the heart of the cards,
Mm.
and sometimes I find that frustrating. But I mean, Chuck Yui's been putting up decent prizes for the Star Deck tournament, which I really love. And if you're just getting into like tournaments and things like that, I think it's a great place to start because you can go in there feeling, well, I lost. Okay, I can blame the deck. I won. Well, even with the deck, I have to play well to win. So, and you might win money. Worst case scenario, you have a bit of fun and you don't.
Yeah. No, it's a cool
And
concept.
that's it.
It's a real cool concept, and I'm stoked that people are doing this type of stuff because it allows, like you said, new people to have equal footing. You know what I mean? And that's what I used to like about our free-to-play tournaments that we used to run. There wasn't a whole math. Well, if there was a difference, it was pretty easily remedied. There wasn't like I'm pretty sure when we were doing that, Pyramid Wardens was still like $400 or $500, man. Like good luck. You know what I mean? Good luck getting that for the average Joe or for most people. So I think it's an exciting kind of thing, and yeah, I haven't entered one yet myself, but I'm really excited to personally. Yeah.
Yeah, that was something I really loved about the tournaments that we were hosting together as well. The fact that it was free to enter, that the prizes were good for such a small tournament. You're putting in really nice prizes, in my opinion. And yeah, it's a thing that anybody can. We were having new people coming in, like out of nowhere all of the time. Lots of new people making it to the top as well, like just being given that chance to play outside of Demogorgons and Pyramid Wardens. That right now they're not the most dominant, but they can still really increase your chances with certain decks.
Oh, in a big way. So what have you...
and it limits what you can play against them.
In a big way. So what have you kind of... Since you've been back in GU, what have you kind of been rocking, dude? What deck are you kind of enjoying playing the most over the past week or two that you've been back on the streams?
Well, I always enjoy playing Magic. That was kind of the first deck that I made myself that wasn't just a copy-paste budget aggro deck to get to Mythic in the first week. The first deck I kind of aimed towards was a Magic deck, and I like playing all kinds of Magic, like the real aggressive, the combo, the control. I mean, fantasy Magic is kind of, what I like anyway, like reading. I only read fantasy books just because I'm always into the Magic. Games like this, I like the fantasy Magic setting over the techno setting. Because, I don't know, it's Magic.
Wait, but I genuinely can't remember this, but have you read The Magician? Have you read The Magician series? Because I feel like I'd remember if you have, but I feel like I'm not sure.
Not yet. We talked about it.
We did, yeah. See, my short-term memory is absolutely horrid. But yeah, dude, I got told the other day by some of the guys.
We talked about it, but I've not actually read it yet.
You got to get into it, man.
Yeah.
They were saying that Raymond E. Feist came out with a new series called Firebane, apparently, and I'm pretty damn excited to get into some of that. I mean, it's completely unrelated to the other book, so I'm pretty excited for that. Like, who was your favorite authors? Or who are your favorite authors, bro?
My favorite author?
Yeah, like who's your favorite author or authors and what?
Sorry, sometimes you're cutting out a little bit for me.
Yeah, my internet's not amazing. But yeah, who's your favorite authors and like what would be some of the best books? What would be some of your favorite books that they wrote, kind of thing?
Wow, I mean, Brandon Sanderson is my favorite author. Just takes that one straight away, I guess. Way of Kings would be my favorite book. I just really like that book. I've read it quite a few times, even though it's fairly big. I just really like how it flows and everything that happens. It's just really well done.
Way of Kings. I'll have to suss it out, man. I'll have to suss it out.
Outside of that, Oh, it's definitely worth a read, and I love how he kind of like links all of these worlds and stories are just linked in a way that you can't even properly see yet. Uh,
Mm,
yeah, Brandon Sanderson definitely takes the top for my favorite author.
that's huge. Have you got any other favorite authors, my dude? Anyone else that you were kind of addicted to or have been kind of hooked on? Any magical places you like to visit, you know?
Yeah, this one kind of hurts me a bit. It's Patrick Rothfuss. He did the Name of the Wind,
Okay, I haven't heard of that.
and he's done. It's a trilogy. He's written the first two books, and the first two books are amazing. And he seems to have a bit of a block on the third one.
Oh, no.
And the first two books are amazing. It's great, but the third one doesn't seem to be coming anytime in the near future. If who knows? Who knows?
Mm,
So that it's such a shame, right? Because they are really good. They are really good. I would recommend them to anyone. But
mm.
I like to know the endings to the stories. I get this hunger to know, and currently that is not able to be sated.
You hate to see it, dude. Like, if there was something that you could say to that author, what would you say, dude? If you could, like, somehow get a line to him, if you could knowingly pick up a phone and he would be on the other end, and you have an opportunity to kind of give him the inspiration or, like what would you say, dude? Like, because I've thought about this type of stuff. What would I say to Raymond E. Feist? You know what I mean? Like, is there anything that you'd want to say to him? Like, say, just hurry up and write the next book?
Nah, to this guy, I'd say, look, just don't worry about it. Stop trying to write it. You know, don't try and write it. Do what you enjoy, right? Like he wrote the Slow Regard of Silent Things, like a spin-off thing for it, and it was a completely different type of story. He was just experimenting. You could see though that he was enjoying it, and even though like, almost basically nothing happened at all, I still really enjoyed the whole story, like starts to finish. And so I think he just needs to, get like the pressure is all there, right? You've probably got millions of people, all being like, "Oh, write this book. We need this book now. When's this book coming?" And it puts all this pressure on you and on yourself. And of course, he's getting nowhere, right? Like you, right? The block is based on all the pressure on top of it. So just give it up for a bit. Be like, nope, all right. Even if it never happens, it's okay. Do what you enjoy, and when you're doing the things that you enjoy, you're going to start like, oh, wait, that's an idea that could fit perfectly here, and you'll find your way back to it when it's right for you.
You're too kind, Wispsi.
I believe that's the best way.
You're so kind. If I could ever remember you for one, like, let's say tomorrow I never saw you again, never heard from you again, I'd be like, if I could remember you for one trait, I think it would be kindness, dude. You're extremely empathetic, dude. I think that's a really, really strong, trait to have, bro. For sure.
You just gotta think how you'd feel, and I know I would struggle to be writing under that.
Oh, for sure, for sure. No, absolutely. So, I haven't asked you this before, man. Like, what do you kind of see yourself doing? I mean, when it comes, like, you say you like to do the streaming for fun and stuff, and but like, and this is kind of going from borderline, smallish talk to something massive and deep. But like, have you got any dreams or passions that you kind of want to move towards, man? Like, do you have any hobbies yourself? Because obviously our gaming is our hobby. We've got our work, and then we've got our gaming and our streaming and stuff. But I mean, is there something that you kind of think about when you're laying in bed or dream about? Like, where do you kind of want to be heading, man? I know I kind of really went deep then, but this is kind of the area I really want to get into,
Well, who knows what the future may bring, right? Like, I don't. And so, plans that, we had before, I don't know. all the plans I've had before have all been changed completely. So I currently, being here is all right. The air quality is not good, but everything else is cheap. And being a teacher here, you make good money for not a lot of work, which I enjoy personally. I don't dislike the work. I forgot to take my holiday, but
What?
yeah.
You forgot to take a holiday?
I forgot to take my holiday. I get paid leave, right? And I forgot to take it, so I ended up having to just take off over half of March.
Oh, wow.
Because all of a sudden it ran out of time. I was like, whoops.
That's huge.
Yeah, so I clearly don't dislike the job that much, right? I can't hate it. But it's not something that I look forward to every day either. Whereas, ideally, the future would include something like, casting games, stuff like co-hosting and things like that, because I've really enjoyed doing that. I found it more fun to cast the games than to play in the tournaments themselves, which is kind of amusing. And like with this pay-to-earn tournament, right? Like you've got to be in the top 16 to get to the end tournament for the big money, and I would like to be in there. I'd like to go, but that's 2 tournaments now so far, and there might be more that I've just not been in. And before the last tournament, I think I was in 6th place, so there's still a good chance for me to get there. But
Wait, so you're still in?
I would like to go, but at the same time,
you're still in the play to earn. You were saying that before. You're still in the play to earn right now. So how's that looking? Whereabouts are you in the play to earn tournament right now, bro?
Well, I don't know exactly after the last one. I know before the weekend, I was in the number 6. I was 6th place.
Yeah, wow. That's huge.
Overall.
That's huge, man.
So
there was like over 500 people in there.
People got more points. Yeah. I don't know. Who knows how that happened, but somehow it did.
You're good at the game.
And yeah, so but there's more people coming in, and over the last time, more people would have got more points. Putting them ahead of me, which puts my position at risk, kind of. But at the same time, I just really enjoy doing the casting of the games, and so I don't want to miss opportunities for that.
Yeah, wow.
'Cause,
No, you're great at casting, man. Like, I really admire the way. I remember when I was, working with you, that it was always so fun hosting with you, man, because I don't know, I think I almost took working with you for granted a little bit, because you just had it under control so well that I knew that I didn't actually need to do anything. I genuinely could just talk shit. And I knew that no matter what happened, you'd have it. And if I'm being completely transparent, I think that's part of the reason, like a small part of the reason why I love working with you, because you're so on the ball. You'd be watching these games, and I at that point I was only playing nature, so I didn't know what the fuck was going on with deception and with death and everything else. And you'd be like, oh, this is happening. Oh, they're going to play this. Oh, there's a chance they're going to have this. Oh, that should have happened. Oh, they didn't play that. It's a misplay. And I'm just sitting there going, just being a fool, dude. You know what I mean? So you used to have it down. I really, I see a huge future for you in that, because you made me feel comfortable. And yeah, like I said, I look up to you in the whole gaming scene, and I really do hope that, well, not hope, I know that you will make it if you stay on that path, you know what I mean? It's just a matter of staying on that path, man, and seeking out these opportunities, like, you've definitely got the talent, you've got the brain, that's for sure, and you got the focus as well. I don't think I have the focus. So, like, what do you think makes you... And I know it's not easy to talk about yourself, But what do you think makes you good at it? Because I know you're good at it. I've seen it. And for anyone that doesn't believe it, look in, like, we have content up about it. Like, what do you yeah.
I mean, so I think a lot of the work anyway for the tournaments that we were doing was done by Zeph behind the scenes, right? Like he was doing most of the organizing, putting it together, starting the games, and all I had to do was just, talk about some games I enjoy.
And would you ever consider like commentating on other types of games? Obviously, like, do you want to stay in the TCG world, or do you would you do other types of games? Or
also,
yeah,
the whole reason I started commentating in the first place, I guess, was because in this game, because I played a lot of games in the past. I'd usually like just pick up a game, play it to masters or grandmasters or whatever, and then just kind of drop it and move on to the next one. But watching other, like when I used to play Heroes of the Storm or something, watching the people commentate and not pick up on all these like incredibly small but key plays, like actions that really just changed like kind of everything, and they just miss it completely. And they're getting hyped about like kind of slightly the wrong thing, and I was just like, I mean, come on, like I play like, a little more than casually, alright? I do put in more hours than a casual gamer, but at the same time, I wasn't really invested that much. And even I was seeing it, so I just, I felt like, oh, well, I could do better, but you never really, can be sure that you can always tell yourself, oh, I could do it. It's easy to backseat, all of this, right? Like you see it on streams all the time, like 1,000 people think they know better than the professional that sat there at the at the screen. So it was, I guess, just kind of a will to prove to myself that I could, and then I've really been enjoying it.
That's huge. No, you're great at it. You're great at it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think enjoying it's kind of the key.
Oh, in a big way. So do you see yourself, potentially, because I'm just going to be straight up. I see Godsunchained taking off in the future. I do. I really do. I'm 100% bought in. Like I genuinely don't have any doubt in the game that you and I are putting our time into. Not just our resources, but our time, which is arguably the biggest resource, you know what I mean? So for you and me to be doing that and with other people, there's got to be something to it. So, I mean, the way I see it is once mobile comes out, this thing's going to pop. I really do believe that. So, I mean, have you got any ideas on, because obviously, you and I are going to start working again together soon with these tournaments again, which I'm super excited about, by the way, and I'm super grateful that you wanted to jump back in there with me, which is super cool. But I mean, do you have? Excuse me. Do you? What am I trying to say? Do you have any goals with this? Like, where do you see Godsunchained going in the next year or two, and where do you kind of see yourself fitting into that? Because it's up to us, man. Like, it's up to the creators. We can dig in, bro. We can make it happen. We just got a fucking vision. We just got to go for it. Do you know what I mean? And I'd love to know where you want to go with that. Like, obviously you want to host, but what does it look like?
Yeah, so I agree. I think Godsunchained has all the parts, there to really make it. And once it's kind of put together and put out there, because they're not that heavy on the advertising yet, on the events, but they're starting to ramp it up again now. That I think they had a bit of a setback with the shiny forging daily play to earn thing. But yeah, they have everything they need. So I'm really excited for the future of it. And yeah, as for myself, the dream, I guess, would be to be doing, like hosting, co-hosting, commentating on on games like for actual Godsunchained tournaments, from the team themselves, as well as a number of like community ones, because I mean, obviously that would be awesome, right?
Oh yeah.
To be doing it for the official tournaments as well.
Oh, in a big way.
And honestly, yeah, that's what I'd like to do. And that's the kind of thing that you can do from, as a lot of these things are online for a while. I don't know, like I'm not tied to any place as well. So it makes, we're here at the moment in Vietnam because life is pretty good here. But, it's a good, the other thing is that we're not really, we're not tied anywhere, which is nice to know.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, that's huge. Like, I just gotta ask, like, being in, and I know I'm jumping back and forth here, but I'm really quite short with my attention span. Like, like you're saying, you're not tied to anything, and you're happy in Vietnam. Like, what are the main differences between living in Vietnam, living in Poland, and living in the UK? Like, I mean, I've never been to any of those three places, man. Like, I don't know anything about them. I'd love to know, like, your favorite things. Like, you mentioned the air quality is a downside, but what's some of your favorite things about all three? Like, are there things that you miss in Vietnam that you had in the UK or Poland? Because 5 years is a long time, man. You lived there. Like, that's part of who you are, you know what I mean? I mean, I don't know how old you are. I'm assuming you're about 25 to 30, so I'm assuming you're at least, I don't know, 18 to 20% Polish, you know what I mean? Like, for for where you've lived over the years, like, you know what I mean? Like, like, what's your favorite things about these places, and what do you miss?
Yeah, I'm actually 34, I think.
34? Shit, alright, my bad. Alright, well, you're looking...
Yeah.
You're looking pretty good, dude.
I mean, age is just a number, right? Age is just a number.
For real.
You're only as old as you feel. That's what I like to think. But yeah, no, so I don't know. Each place is a bit different. England, you work a lot for not very much money. It's a lot of money elsewhere, but it's not a lot of money there, and there is where you are. So that sucks. And the general quality of, like, social services is not good. Like, it's not great. Transport, education, health, any of it really. So I was happy to get away from there, because you kind of brought up with this, like, oh, England is the best. Everyone else is kind of Poland, basically a third world country, right? Like, that sometimes feels like the atmosphere that was, attitude that was trying to, be conveyed across there. And then you go and you find out, oh, like, even the buses are a million times better. The trains are all better. The dentists are better. Like, it's just, yeah.
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, it was funny.
Well, we get told that kind of there's a similar thing in Australia, bro. We get told that Australia is the best, always. We just grow up, oh, you're lucky to be here. We got beaches. We got this. You guys are, we're from England, but it's like in England with the beach, and we're the only continent that is one country, and like, we're just taught this stuff from a real young age. And it's not until I traveled to Sweden that I was like, Australia's not perfect. It's not, which is a shock.
Yeah. But Poland wasn't perfect either, and there things are a lot cheaper, but you get paid less money, and I don't know, the politics at the time were becoming very religious, and I'm not really a fan of these two things being so mixed. And yeah, so we're like, you know what, let's get out of here, because I would be able to get all right money, but like being a native, but my other half has, she's got a master's in English, and a degree in Japanese as well. So, pretty good with the languages, speaks better than most natives I know.
Yeah, well.
Um, I have to ask her, fairly often, about teaching English, and I'm the English one.
Mm.
But she would get paid way less than me, obviously, because she's Polish. And so we went to a place where we were both foreigners, and then we both get paid a lot more. And here, as I said, the air quality in the city is really bad. We thankfully have like a big old air purifier, and um, our apartment's not too bad. But now we get paid way more for working way less, and that's just a good life balance, in my opinion. We're saving more money than we were. And we weren't saving during COVID, don't get me wrong. COVID, like this place locked down for like a year. Literally the past year, we've only just kind of gone back to offline classes. There was a whole year of schools being closed. But even then, we got a lot, we got very reduced wages and things like that. My salary was cut in half. But even then, we were still able to, not worry, live a fairly comfortable life, which a lot of people, especially back in England, were suddenly losing. So ups and downs, but yeah, I struggle to find a huge desire to go back to England outside of the fact that just my family's there, and it's familiar. But yeah,
Well,
I'd
have you
like to
been
go
back?
live somewhere like Iceland, but it's kind of difficult because you need a lot of money.
Mm.
When I was in Poland, I went back every 3 months for a weekend, because it was like £15, to get the flight. It really wasn't expensive.
Yeah, wow.
But since coming to Vietnam, we came to Vietnam in the November before the first, COVID outbreak. And since then, this place has been like pretty closed. So we've not really been anywhere.
Yeah. I think that's I think everyone's kind of, all bored, to the best of my knowledge, just kind of experienced that, being locked down for a long time, which sucks. But
Yeah.
no.
But as I said, we have to be grateful though, because we were in a good position. Like, financially, we weren't in any difficulties. There were people that we used to order food from, like kind of cafe restauranty places that when the like full lockdown was going on, like literally nobody leaving at all, they would deliver us like vegetables for free.
Wow.
Just to make sure that we had stuff to eat, which
Wow.
was awesome.
That's super nice. So are the locals there really nice and stuff? Like, it sounds like they are.
Yeah, a lot of them, but I don't speak Vietnamese, so, most of them don't speak very good English. Their English is better than my Vietnamese, but it's not enough for a real conversation.
They just know you
But
as that,
generally, people seem quite friendly, yeah, and helpful.
they just know you as that big, handsome English guy that looks 25 but's really 34 and has cat ears, for real.
Um, yeah, I'm just the English guy. I don't live in the foreigner district either. I live like in the middle of like the heart of like the Vietnamese area. So you don't see any Westerners around apart from us.
Wait, what's a foreigner district? I don't even know what that is.
Yeah, Tejo for all the Tays. Tejo's a foreigner. It's yeah, foreigners. It's funny, they're kind of both looked down upon and looked up to in at the same time. It's an awkward dynamic, but but most foreigners live in Tejo, this place for foreigners, because there you get all the Western foods. You get like a lot of people speaking English, so it's easier to communicate and get around.
It's
And
huge.
yeah,
I dig it. Well, a couple more GU related questions, man. So I'd say you're a bit of a GU veteran. So for people that are kind of getting introduced to Godsunchained, and I know I'm dancing between life and GU here. Yeah, also, guys, just bear with me because I'm still learning how to do this whole thing, and that's why I'm super stoked that you're here, Wispsi, because other people may be hard on me, but you've got such an amazing patience. So thank you for being patient with me, bro. But for people that are kind of just coming into Godsunchained, what have you got any advice for them? Anything that they should expect? Anything that you've learned that could be frustrating that you could help them through? Like just anything at all.
All right, so you cut out a little bit there. I'm just checking. So you're asking for new players coming in if they're getting, say, frustrated with the game. Any advice I could give them?
Well, just anything that you've learned. Yeah, sorry guys, the internet's not great here. So any advice for new players that you could give in general, and anything else that you could
the
offer.
Important thing is I think one of the most important things to realize is that you will lose some games, and it's okay. Um, everyone's going to lose some games, and it's okay. I think a lot of people get caught up in the winning, and they feel they need to win like all of the games. And usually in a game, even at the very top levels, the matchmaking is working as hard as possible to give you a game where you're going to win and lose half of the time, because that's the fairest for everyone. And so don't get too discouraged or disappointed if you do queue into like a counter deck multiple times. Maybe changing deck for that hour or something could work out, but it's important to realize that sometimes you will just get unlucky. And if you find yourself getting frustrated and like angry, just take a 5-minute break. Look around, maybe look up some new decks on GU decks, see what people are playing. You don't have to make any of them. Just have a bit of a look. And don't play for a couple of minutes. Just because else you get into that loop. It's just non-stop. You queue, it's all going wrong. You queue immediately, and already it's going wrong. And it's already going wrong before you even click the queue button. So just break that for a second. And you might still get unlucky, but you're not going to be like. When you get annoyed, when you get frustrated, you will miss things. You will make more mistakes. You will start looking at what can go wrong instead of looking for ways to win. And that's a downward spiral, because there's so many things that can go wrong. You've got to be looking for your way to win, right? And focused on your victory, not on stopping your loss.
That's good advice. That's huge. I dig it. Well, kind of on the back end of that, for people that are looking at streaming Godsunchained, well, streaming in general, but have you got any advice for people kind of looking to dive into that kind of thing?
Yeah, well, I don't really even know how I managed to end up with so many followers. It's I was expecting to still be 6 months in, like, hey, look, someone other than my girlfriend is watching. But I would say that it's nice when you've got at least a microphone, right? Like the camera is a huge bonus. I think it makes it more personal for people. They can see you, see how you react, and if you're not saying anything, you're not gone, right? Like when you're just a microphone, when you're not speaking, it's like you're not there. Right? There's kind of the interaction stops immediately. It's quite abrupt. It's a bit like being on the phone, and not many people like being on the phone. So the camera helps, but you definitely need a microphone if you don't have a microphone, I feel like it really, like people want to hear you talk.
Mm.
And that's another thing. If you're just starting out and you don't have many viewers, uh, one thing to keep in mind, it's still nice to talk about talk about what you're doing in the game. Just literally say what you're doing. And that way people are coming into you talking and they got something to listen and get into immediately, instead of coming in and waiting for you to notice that your viewer count has gone up by one, by
Mm.
which point they'll probably be like, oh, well, they're not even doing anything. Let's just go.
Yeah.
So I would say do try and talk, whilst, even if nobody's there at that current point in time, because it makes a big difference when you come into the stream then, and gives you kind of a reason to want to stay.
Mm. That's beautiful, man. That's perfect. That's all. That's perfect. I think you're 100% right there. That audio is more important than visual. I think because it's like, I'd watch your stream if you didn't have, a video capture up, but you had an audio capture. But if I was to watch your stream, but you had your video capture up, but your audio was in and out, that would be super frustrating. Like that wouldn't make sense.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, like it makes it for a lot, we're used to hearing things when we're watching something. And yeah, that's why people come, right? They're coming for you. And so if you don't put you out there, then they've got no reason to stay.
Mm. That's huge. No, that's awesome. So, getting close to the end now. I'm getting close.
Sorry, we got sidetracked a bit there. Sorry,
No. It's perfect. No, I'm just getting close to the end now, so I'm trying to get as much Wispsi as I can before we run out of time. But have you got any exciting things coming up over the next couple weeks or month or something? Like obviously you and I are. I'm starting up these tournaments again, and really hoping that you'll get back on board with it. I'm thinking this time instead of doing weekly, we might just do fortnightly from the get-go. But are there any other tournaments or anything like that are coming up that that people might be able to catch you in? Like obviously I will put the link for your Twitch up in this, but is there anything else that people can be excited to see Wispsi in?
Yeah, well, I'm glad you asked that, because a lot of tournaments coming up, right? There's a lot of tournaments coming up. There's the one, hopefully we're going to be able to sort this scheduling out, and that'll be great if we can get back to doing these again together. If not, I'm sure you're going to kill it anyway, but hopefully we can manage this, because that would be great. I'm going to be in the Year of the Gods tournament for as long as I can be, hoping to not go out too quickly. There's the Play to Earn tournament coming up still, and I don't know if anyone's been hearing stories dropped lately of tournament series coming up, but I'm going to be doing one tournament for part of a bigger series in a month's time. So it'll be the first one I'm actually organizing myself, running myself, and that's going to be exciting.
That sounds amazing.
Just got to figure out what restrictions exactly.
Well, so you get to kind of figure all that stuff out. Like, do you kind of set the tone for that?
Yeah. I set the tone for this tournament. It's gonna be my tournament, just under a bigger umbrella, and it's gonna be great. But considering that I came from a very as free to play in this game for a long time. And I first started entering tournaments as free to play as well. So I don't want to make it just unrestricted, because that does leave some decks, but it's actually very restrictive for a large amount of people that don't have all the cards.
Yeah.
So I do want to have some restrictions in there on some of the more Genesis, maybe take out Trial as well. Not even sure if we'll have Divine Order in there. Might just focus it on the new the new set that's come out.
Really?
Um,
That's interesting.
and yeah, I was thinking about it.
Wow.
I was even contemplating not having core cards, but I don't know. Just Welcome and Mortal Judgment, but we're not sure yet.
Wow. That'd be interesting,
But
man.
I wanted it to, yeah, I wanted it to be the kind of tournament that, when I was free to play and just starting out, entering the tournament scene, it was the kind of thing I could enter and feel like I had a chance,
Mm,
instead of feeling like, well, I can maybe get somewhere, but I'll never get to the top.
mm.
Um, so yeah,
That's interesting, man. I genuinely had not even thought about events without Divine Order in it. And Core as well. Like I mean, yeah, that sounds really interesting. And yeah, I'd happily enter that tournament, bro. That'd be cool as.
I even considered, seeing if I could try and make it a team thing, but I don't know if there'd be enough interest for enough teams.
Mm. I'm sure we could start rallying up some interest. Like you said, it's a month away, so we've got a month to promote it. And I think you've got a decent channel, and we could even get a couple other streamers and myself to promote your tourney. Like you're such a nice guy, man. Anyone would be happy to promote your stuff. It'd be silly not to be honest.
But it should be fun. It should be fun, regardless. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm excited to, finally be. I've done a lot of co-hosting, but not any actual hosting.
Mm. Yeah. Well, I think that's where the future is for you, man. Like, again, I think you're a natural born host, in some way, shape, or form. But, I think this is a really good step forward. And do you think that if you do this next one well, that this could open up to other things in the future? I mean, would you consider, if this goes well, maybe starting up your own, regular tournament potentially?
Yeah, I'm not sure. I mean, nothing's off the table, right? Like, tournaments, where it's at in games for me, right? Like the ladder is the ladder. It's often a lot of grinding, over, like a time investment thing. But tournaments are, you know, it's kind of all on the line right there. Like each game really matters, and
Mm.
so you feel that, and I enjoy it, you know more than normal gameplay for sure, more than even just who's at the top of the ladder, and I think a lot of people do. So nothing's off the table, but I don't have any set plans for a series of my own yet. But I'm thinking of some ideas actually that, uh, if not directly me, someone else that I'm working with. I'm not sure yet, but could be. Yeah. There's a bright future I see for Gods Unchained.
Yeah.
I just hope people don't realize it too quickly. I was I was trying to buy a Demogorgon, right? Like I was going to make my first big step into buying a Demogorgon. I wanted to buy it for like 400 because it was at 400, and the gas to get Ethereum was just so much. I was like, whoa, that I can't, pay that much and then when it got cheaper, the Demogorgons went up.
Yeah. No, that's a bummer. Yeah, the Gorgons. Well,
But hopefully one day soon.
oh, it'll happen, dude. It'll happen, dude. But we don't want to put too much of that savings in there. $400 is a lot of money for a card, man. I mean, let's be real. That's big bucks.
Oh, it's crazy, I know. But I feel like this game really has a lot of potential, and it's not tapping into it all right now. And yeah, we saw some people run when the price of the gods dropped down, and it's like, of course, gods was dropping down. There was no real way to burn it, right? Like the amount that you burn fusing core cards into meteorites was nothing, pittance. Whereas now with the shiny forging, there are a lot more ways to burn it. And if they bring out shiny incentives, there's going to be a lot more reasons to burn it. And so I think this is potentially this is what we've been waiting for, right? This is the hype that they had from the Blessing of Gods. This is where it was meant to be channeled into, and then we just had this couple of months or like few months where it wasn't quite ready. It wasn't quite at the level they wanted it to be. And so now it seems like things are starting to get moving again. So I'm feeling and Demogorgons, I'd only be able to buy one,
Mm.
unfortunately. If we even manage that. And it is a huge amount of money to put in there, but it enables a lot of different types of gameplay that I don't usually get to play with the
Yeah.
more control-y style.
Mm. No, absolutely. Demogorgon definitely changes the game. If you've got, even like you said, even one, it makes a big difference, especially in GU, which only has 30 cards in a deck, as opposed to all these most other TCGs which rock, between 40 and 60. But I was gonna ask two more questions. What was it? Oh my goodness. Oh, okay. So is there anything in the game right now? Oh, yeah, this was the next question. Have you heard about the Council of the Gods? And if so, have you got any feedback on the type of stuff that the council should be working on?
I I don't know. I've not looked that much into it, I gotta say. What about you?
Well, the council being the voice between, I'm going to be straight up about it. I want to be on that council. I want to be on it. I've been very public about that too. But I also was chatting to someone a few nights ago on in one of the discords, and they said, because in my head the council kind of sits between the community and GU, right? Kind of serves as like a way for the community to be able to talk and have their voice heard without BMing basically and whinging, and just actually be able to.
It coming through one person who's got a reasonable, attitude towards it, instead of just, 500 people complaining about the same thing in not the most pleasant way sometimes. Yeah.
Exactly.
Right.
And I kind of just, I'm really excited on the idea of it, but I also would like to hope that that GU is really actually open to listening. Do you know what I mean? Like, I hope, and I'm going to be straight, I'm just going to be completely transparent about it. I hope they're not just doing this as a way to kind of, how can I say this without, I hope they're not doing it as a way to just shut people up. Do you know what I mean? Because I think that, I think that all these people, they like, and because this is the way it is, people like to complain. It's just humans. They like to complain, and even if they get their problem fixed, they will just jump into another thing to complain about. It's just what human beings do. It's just what we do. And I feel like that there needs to be, an outline on what it means, and I haven't, I heard about the concept, but I haven't really heard much more about it, and that's why I was asking, because I'm curious on it. I'm really keen on it, but I also want to know, what it kind of looks like, and I haven't heard anything, and that's why I was asking. I've been asking people this question, because I want to know what they think it looks like, because I don't know if even GU knows what it looks like, which means maybe it's up to us to kind of bring forward what it looks like. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, I know what you're saying, and I'm not 100% sure myself what it looks like, how it works out, because did the people vote?
Yeah, well, that's it. Like in old school RuneScape, because this is the thing, right? So, I mean, as you know, I'm from a RuneScape background, so you've got RuneScape itself, where the devs just make changes and they do it without the community, and that way they're able to really build a game at their own pace and bring changes in. But then you've got old school RuneScape, where these people are really stuck on nostalgia, and in old school RuneScape it's really hard to get changes in the game because everything has to be polled, and for a poll, for an update to pass, they need a 75% agree, agree rate or whatever on old school, which means that the updates just don't happen. You know, like people want updates, but then not everyone agrees, and it's like I'm kind of stuck between the two. You know what I mean? Like I kind of lean more towards RuneScape, like 3, which is now RuneScape, and just letting the developers do what they're meant to do. Because as soon as you start to bring the community more and more into it, it's like, you know, there's a lot of analogies I can use, none that are appropriate, but you know what I'm saying.
Indeed. Indeed, I do, and I agree. It's why we don't have like a pure democracy or anything, right? Like people often have opinions on things that they don't know everything about, or sometimes even anything about. And people can be very vocal about these opinions that they have without it really having much of a basis outside of their friend told them this that they got from something, you know. And we get very attached to our ideas. We really do as people. And you know, most people that will talk in there and say things like that they're not really thinking through the whole, like, everything. They're mostly just thinking about how, you know, this one thing annoyed them today.
Yeah.
And I don't feel it's always that constructive.
Absolutely.
And so I do agree that, you know, it shouldn't be like just a community vote thing. That's not a good way to make a game. That's not a good way to make a country. You know, even a republic is kind of iffy in my opinion. But right, like most of the people voting for anything will not have a comprehensive knowledge on the subject.
Well, it's a surefire way to make sure that it stops developing.
Having accounts, like Yes, and that's one of the things. I think the team has shown that they are willing to listen to the community in a lot of regards. Just the development has been like quite slow on their side, and that is understandable, right? They want to keep the team, you know, like fairly small so that, you know, you don't get any, you know, issues from you know, recruiting a lot of people at once, and you want to make sure everything's done right. Especially because this is a blockchain game, so money is on the line, right? You make a bad choice and people aren't just unhappy in the game, people are losing money and they're coming at you. So I understand why you want to be absolutely sure on everything, and I think that's where a council could come in handy. And, you know, like, they don't need to, you know, it doesn't need to be forcing changes, it just needs to be consolidating kind of how people feel and letting them know in like as a player perspective, because as a developer you're looking at things just in a slightly different way, and you have this information that other people don't, and you know, you forget that they don't have this information and that how much it can change things. And so I think the council needs to, you know, be just a few people that can, you know, because if their ideas are that good, I mean, you know, they should be hired, right? They should join the team. We've seen a couple of members picked up by the team.
Yeah.
But it should be the kind of thing where they let people, you know, let the developers know how the community is feeling, how it feels from a player's perspective, what's going on, and what you know, what people are thinking like under the surface.
Absolutely. No, you're 100% right. I think it's important. Yeah, exactly. People's feelings shouldn't shape the future of a game, because that's not tangible and the game is, and that doesn't make sense, you know. It's like man,
fun is an important part of shaping the game.
Yeah.
So it's important that people are having fun, but people often get confused about, you know, what the exact issue is. You know, they think one thing is causing it, but it's actually an underlying issue. That's just the moment that, you know, sparked it off.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think you know, people's feelings are important, but they need to be tempered with a little, you know, objectivity.
Well, people's feelings are important, but they are, of course, important. But I don't think, and you know, people can quote me on this. They can. People's feelings are important, but they shouldn't change how a game works for people's feelings. I mean, that's how you decide to feel is how that's your reaction to something, they shouldn't change the source of why you feel that. When I'm talking about a game here, I'm talking about a card game. Okay, that's what I'm talking about. So the game itself needs to, like, people in my experience, people get the most upset about metas. You know, they'll be like, nature's slapping it this week, so nerf them to the ground. Do you know what I mean? But, I mean, that's a very one-sided opinion, and that's your feelings, and that's fair enough, okay? But that doesn't mean we're going to tilt the whole game because you feel that way. I understand you feel that way, and I'm happy to talk about what we can do to counter that, but we're not going to change the whole meta because you feel that way. You know, maybe we just need to show you a different play style, or maybe a couple of cards are unbalanced and we can work on that. But quite often when you come to that point, you say, okay, a couple of cards are unbalanced and maybe we can work on that. What are your ideas? They'll say, I don't know. I mean, I just don't like it. Well, okay. Well, we can't really work with that. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this is where it gets dangerous. And this is where, you know, I genuinely think you and I could talk about this for hours. You know, I feel like it's kind of almost a bit of a bad move, me bringing in such a big topic right at the end. You know what I mean? Because this is something that we could literally. I think we should talk about this. I think when you and I co-hosting our tournaments, we should talk about this kind of thing because I think it's important. You know, and not to let people's, you know, emotions with having a bad run or, you know, feeling a certain way about a certain meta. I don't think we should confuse that with the future of the game, you know, because there's no future in the game if everyone's just short-tempered and losing it over losing games. I think it more so has to do with the structure of the game. And also, I think the biggest thing, like, honestly, is communication. I think that's the biggest thing. I don't think that players are going to be as upset with certain things okay, now I can answer it. If the council's there to just hear the players out and go, you know what, I hear you, I'm taking note on this, but just so you know, this is all the other stuff that's happening. Do you know what I mean? So I hear you, and your voice is important, but let's have a look at a list here and kind of explain it and walk through it. So that I think there's a role there where you could kind of retain more players just by talking to them and hearing them and going, we'll take this into account and I can pass this on so they don't feel like they're beating their head against a wall. I think that's all it would really take, bro. I think that's a big step. What do you think?
Yeah, for sure. Just, you know, letting people know they've been heard often does make a big difference to their, you know, how they view the situation. It's a pretty funny effect, but even if like we saw, they added in the report for unskilled play on LoL, right? Like, it did nothing. No one looked at it. It was, you know, nothing came of it. But people felt better being able to report their opponent for unskilled play. They felt better for having just an option to put in there, right?
Which I think is crazy, by the way.
Yeah,
I think that's wild.
And obviously, there are issues.
I think that's wild. You know, I'm reporting you. What for?
I loved it, right?
Yeah, you're not good. Okay. Like, that's fucked. That's fucked.
It's like, well, I'm, you know, neither are you, right? Like, I remember I was playing Heroes of the Storm one time, and in the queue that I was in, I was like rank number 7th in Europe. And
that's huge.
So, you know, doing pretty well. I was quite good. I was quite good at that game.
Yeah.
Until they decided to kill it. For me, it was more fun because it was more fighting, you know, people and less fighting minions, and that's what I prefer. I like the PvP aspect of the games. And yeah, so we got to this, and I was in a game, and because my MMR was so high, we'd get matched with people in gold or, you know, occasionally even silver on our team, and be against like a team of diamonds. You know, it's what they do to try and balance it out. And with that, I remember distinctly one game this guy would not stop flaming me, telling me how I didn't know how to play the game, how I'm just bad at everything, like just over and over again telling me how the entire loss is my fault. I was the player he had decided that out of everybody in the game, it was definitely all me, and every call I made, every move I make was the reason we were losing. I'm like, well, you know, I have a pretty good track record of making the right decisions, even if my team is making the wrong decisions. Like,
Mm.
I'm the kind of person that, I know when to go with them, and I will do so, if there's anything, like any chance. But it just, no, it really made, because my other half, she was in platinum at the time. And recently, like in a previous game, somebody had been flaming her, and that person was in diamond. And like, I mean, that person in diamond was still making mistakes. They still weren't playing that great,
Mm.
but they were flaming her for being bad. And then when she saw somebody even lower flaming me, she was like, "Oh well, you know, people just don't know what they're talking about, do they?" It's like a
Mm.
lot of the time, no, right? Like, yeah, no matter, you're in gold, you're reporting someone for unskilled play. It's like, well, there's a reason you're in gold. It's because you're not skilled enough to be in, like diamond or, challenger or anything. And if
Mm.
you were, suddenly dropped in that game because matchmaking, had a fit, uh, would you like it if they all flamed and reported you?
Yeah,
Is it going to
exactly.
change anything? Are you going to somehow magically play better?
Exactly.
You're going to play
Exactly.
worse.
Yes, absolutely. You're
Uh,
spot on. Well, yeah, no, that's huge. Well, is there anything?
it's
I
funny
didn't
though.
know you were number 7 in Heroes of the Storm. That's absolutely massive. Let's not undermine that. That's huge. I mean, I loved that game. The only thing I didn't like about that game, and please excuse me, actually, you know what? I'm not going to say a negative. There's no need to. I'm not going to not say a positive and then say a negative. Great game. Great game. Shame it's not going. Um, but is there anything that you wanted to chuck in here at the end, my brother?
Nah, I think we've covered a lot more than I was thinking. I thought we'd mostly be focused on Godsunchained, so I'm sorry for these little
No, I
little
love it.
side tracks that we've gone down, but it's been fun, and thank you for thank you for having me here as the first one recorded here.
Oh, I love
That's
it, Wispsi. I could do, honestly,
honor.
bro. I find like, and you're super welcome. You'll always be my first choice in this game. In everything I do. But I could do this with you every day for the next 10 days and still have shit to talk about. You're very easy to talk to, and I'm super, super glad that you agreed to come on our first show, man. Thank you so much. And yeah, really looking forward to doing some work with you again in the future.
Yeah, me too, me too. And anyone still here, guys? Yeah, get on these tournaments. Right, there's a lot of them coming up. Not to be biased, but most especially any tournaments coming from James's channel or mine. I think they're pretty high in priority. Uh,
Absolutely, get about it, guys, and make sure, guys. A couple of things just at the very end here. If you're not playing Gods Unchained, please uh, give it a download. It doesn't cost you anything to give it a play. And as you've heard from Wispsi, there are very large communities within Gods Unchained that cater to new players. And if you are playing Gods Unchained and you haven't found a Twitch channel yet, please, I'll put the links up for myself and for Wispsi. We both cater to different audiences. But just so you know, when I'm not streaming, I do like to watch his stream. So make sure you jump on there and give him a follow. For real. He's the man.
th- there are so many communities as well. I'm in a Vietnamese tournament, league, actually, that's going on as well. So even if you're not, if you have a local community, there's a good chance you can find people and events going on for that as well.
Mm, absolutely. Well, thanks again, bro. It's been a real pleasure, man, and I'm really looking forward to catching up with you again in the future. Well, really soon, actually, like the short future. Like I'm talking a couple of days, like or even less.
Indeed, indeed. Yeah, no, the pleasure's all mine.
Awesome. All right, bro. Well, yeah, have an awesome evening where you are. It's about 7 where you are, I believe, and yeah, I'll catch up with you later on, my man. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for watching.
Have fun.
Appreciate you. Thanks, guys. All right.